Hey there folks, and welcome to Truck King. Today we are looking at this, the 2024 Ram ProMaster EV. Yes, this is the all-electric version of the Ram ProMaster delivery van. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about the electric version, and then we're also gonna drive a gas-powered ProMaster and compare them, so make sure you stay tuned. Let me start with the important numbers. The Ram ProMaster EV will be available in two different configurations. There is the delivery model and then the non-delivery cargo model. Now, if you go for the cargo model, it will be available at a 12-foot cargo length or an extended 13-foot cargo length. The standard battery pack on all of these vans is a 110 kilowatt hour battery with a targeted range of up to 174 miles in city driving. The ProMaster EV cargo van features up to 3,020 pounds of payload, while the smaller delivery version offers 2,030 pounds. Now, when it comes to actually driving this thing, the 200 kilowatt electric drive module delivers 268 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque and standard front-wheel drive capability. And yes, front-wheel drive here on the EV, just like it is on the gas-powered ProMaster. For charging, ProMaster EV features level 3 DC fast charging, which means you can charge at 50 kilowatts, 85, 125, and up to 150 kilowatts. Let's do a walk around right now on this Ram ProMaster EV delivery model. So the first thing I'll show you right here, that's your charge port right there. Like I said, it is level 3 DC fast charging, so that's where you need to get to plug it in. Now come around the back. This is a new standard feature on these vans too. It's actually an aluminum roll-up door, which is nice because you don't have those big swing out doors. There's nothing getting in your way here. There's no limitation how close you can actually back into things. So the roll-up door is a nice enhancement. And then this is really the beauty of all of these vans is, I mean, I stand at 6'2" and I can stand up in here no problem at all. Now in this van specifically, Ram has outfitted it with these big shelves. Of course, you can do anything you want back here, go to a number of different upfitters and they'll set you up. But again, that's sort of the beauty of these vans is you're not ducking down. You can have, you know, full step-in height and be able to walk through here. And step-in height has always been a big deal with the ProMaster because it's front-wheel drive. You never had to have, you know, a drive shaft coming back, so the step-in height here is quite low, and it does show, and I'll meet you up front at the pocket door. This is another feature great for deliveries. A quick access pocket door, so you're driving there, you hop out, you're out the side with whatever cargo you have, and this is another standard feature here on the delivery van. So nice to have the pocket door, and you know what, I can't wait to take this thing for a drive and see how it feels, so let's go. Now we're on the road, folks, but first we're here in a gas-powered Ram ProMaster. This is a ProMaster 3500 with the high roof option, and I really wanted to drive these two things back to back to really look at all the differences. Now, before I talk power, I do want to mention payload because arguably that's the most important thing in this segment. And here in this gas-powered van, we're just over 4,000 pounds of payload. Now, of course, this ProMaster is powered by the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6, 9-speed automatic. I'm gonna go foot to the floor. It feels pretty good. It screams right up to 7,000 RPM. It sounds okay. It's not a bad engine note. And you know what? The response is pretty much right there. There's no turbochargers here, nothing like that, so it didn't really feel like any lag. And once again, I'll be very curious to feel the difference as compared to the EV. Now, the one thing that I do have to point out is the visibility, because that's another pain point for most van drivers, is how well can I see around this huge windowless panel van, right? You can't do a shoulder check because there's no window back there to see out of. So the thing that I really appreciate here is the rear camera mirror. This is a feature that's come to many, many vehicles, and I'll be honest, in a lot of pickup trucks, I find myself shutting it off. It takes your eyes some time to sort of get used to that not being a mirror and being a camera. In this vehicle, it's amazing because I don't have the option of having a mirror. If I turn this into mirror mode, which you can do, you can still shut it off, all I'm doing is looking at whatever is in the back of the van. So I think that bringing a feature like that to this van segment makes total sense. And then I'll also shout out the mirrors. The mirrors here are huge. They're powered on the top, and the spot mirrors are powered. That's something that ProMaster has done, I think, since day one. So I commend them for also doing that. One less thing that a driver has to do throughout their day. You don't have to get out and adjust it manually. That can equal time, and time is money. So when you're looking at any commercial vehicle, the thought process changes from, sort of what we normally do when we're looking at more consumer-focused vehicles. This thing is about how much money can you make me? And I know it seems like a small thing, but even having those powered mirrors can equal a little bit of time throughout your day. So I think that when it comes to visibility, they've done a good job here sort of maximizing your sight lines all the way around. And then just the seating position, you get this high seating position. The fact that the nose slopes off so hard just means that the nose is right there and I can sort of see down to it. Because the other thing you're often doing in a van like this is navigating tight spaces. You're downtown in a city, you're in back alleyways, you're backing into loading docks or pulling into different docks. So having that sort of front nose visibility be very obvious, very clear to you, I think is also important. Now, all of those visibility things should transfer over to the EV as well. The one thing I will say I noticed, though, which I would put as a negative here on the gas-powered van, is just sort of the packaging up front here. We have a bit of a raised floor. There's an engine beneath us. There's a transmission down there. Now, it's just front-wheel drive, so there's still no, drive shaft running to the back of this thing. But even still, with the ICE setup, I just feel like they're a little more limited what they can do up here in the front. The EV feels a lot more open in the front end because the floor, frankly, is lower. But you know what? Let's jump in the EV now, and we'll compare all of these things. All right, everybody, and now here we are in the Ram ProMaster EV. So the first thing I'll say is overall sort of seating position, visibility out the windshield, visibility out to my mirrors. It all feels basically the same, so that's a good thing. It's still a familiar kind of package to get into. Now, I think the first thing I want to talk about, usually the biggest question, has to do with the power. So I am just going to slow down here. We're going to come to a dead stop. The brakes are nice and grabby too. Some of that, of course, is regenerative braking. And foot to the floor. All right, it felt okay. I wouldn't say it felt massively quicker than the gas version. And you know what? Generally, we get into EVs and we comment how quick they feel, how the acceleration is really, much more aggressive than in a gas car. But that's because it's tuned that way. Here, this thing is tuned for range. They want to make sure that when you're going throughout your day, you're going to get the range that they promised. But unlike often where we get in EVs and you're blown away by the acceleration, that's just not what is going to happen here. And again, that's definitely by design. And again, it's a delivery van. You don't need crazy 0 to 60 times here. Now this is 268 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque. It does have that instant response, though, that you get out of an EV, which feels nice. Now, sort of the other thing I was sort of feeling for was torque steer. This is a front-wheel drive setup, and I didn't feel any of it. It didn't feel like the wheel was being pulled in any strange direction. Coming around that corner while accelerating felt totally natural. So in a front-wheel drive setup, I was curious to kind of see how it felt, but again, feels totally natural and basically no different sort of dynamically than the gas-powered version. Now, there's some other important numbers I want to spit out at you. The big one is the range, of course. Everyone's concerned about the range. So they are saying we're going to get 164 miles of range, just over 160. But the most important part of that number is it's tested at half payload. And I think that's massively important. It's great for you to say to me, hey, it has whatever range you want to dream up. But if I'm a delivery driver, I have weight in here all the time. So their idea at Ram was, let's go to half capacity, let's run the test, and then we'll be able to give people more of a real world number. Now, sadly, the event we're at here today, I'm basically on a 15-minute little drive loop here, so no, I can't really comment on how the overall range is going to do for you and whether or not that is an accurate number. But as soon as we can get one of these at home and actually put some weight into it and get out there and test it out, you know we will, because that's going to be the most important factor on an electric delivery van, is does it live up to the range expectation. Now, the other thing I think we should talk about is sort of the range number in general. You know, just over 160 miles. It's not massive. It's nowhere near, you know, the highest range on the market that, you know, if you compare it to all the EV trucks and the EV crossovers that are out there, it's not a great number. However, you have to change your mindset from that of a consumer to somebody in a delivery business. And generally, somebody who's out doing deliveries knows exactly how far they're going to run. They know that on Monday I do this route, it's 68 miles. On Tuesday I do this route, it's 95 miles, so on and so forth. And once you know that, well, then you can figure out very quickly if this amount of range is going to work for you. And Ram could have put a bigger battery pack in here. The battery pack is down in the floor. It's 110 kilowatts, but it's not all the way to the back of the van. They could have stretched that battery pack out and really given us some more range. But they basically said this is the best balance between range that's actually usable for most companies versus cost versus weight. Because the more battery you add, the more you're going to pay, and the more the van is going to weigh. So when they looked at all of that, they came up with this, 160 mile number as that's enough for most end of trip deliveries. This is not a van that you're running stuff across the country with. This is just for that sort of last step in the process. You're downtown Detroit or New York or Toronto and you need to deliver stuff. That's what this van is all about. So that's sort of how they came up with that number. So even I, when I first heard it, went, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you flip your mindset a little bit and start looking at it from that business point of view, I think it's actually more than enough. And if it's not enough, well, you still got a gas option here as well. So let me talk a little bit about charging now, because that's obviously another important point with any EV. So I actually have a readout here on the screen. It says we're at 86% right now, and from 86% back to 100% at 120 volts, it's going to take 13 hours. So yeah, you basically cannot rely on a regular 3-prong 120 volt plug. You have to upgrade to level 2 or level 3 charging to really get the benefit of one of these vehicles. Now at level 2 charging, this van will go from 20% to 100% in just under 8 hours, and right now it's telling me it would take me from 85% back to 100 in 2 hours and 26 minutes. So that's more reasonable, and most businesses could probably get away with level 2 charging because essentially it's an overnight charge. It runs all day, comes back to the yard, you plug it in, 8 hours later, you're back at 100%. And then finally, if you do step up to level 3 charging, this thing can get from 20% to 80% in about 55 minutes. So level 3 charging is going to cost more for a company to install. However, there's also a usage case where maybe the van is doing a delivery in the morning and then it gets a driver change and it goes out on a second shift. Well, in that case, you could bring it back to the yard, shove it on a level 3 charger, and actually regain a legitimate amount of range in a fairly short period of time. So yeah, those numbers, again, they have to be built in to the entire process here if you're looking at buying one of these for your business, but I think they're reasonable. An 8-hour charge, that's sort of the magic number. Is I want to make sure that from the time I leave to the time I get back, that van is at 100% charge. And just like basically all EVs out there today, you can schedule your charging here. So if you only need it on certain days, or maybe Monday, it's a super short route, you don't have to charge at the end of the day, you can then schedule it just to charge at specific times on specific days. That's going to allow you to maximize your charging. It also means you can charge at off-peak hours. So if you only want the charging to kick in, the second the electricity becomes more affordable, you can do that as well. And once again, for your business, that's super important. Now, what I want to do right now is try and crunch a few numbers for you guys and just sort of do a rough math, call it back of the napkin comparison on if I had to fuel this thing up versus if I had to charge it up, what's really going to be my cost difference. So let's take a look at that right now. And here are the numbers I came up with. So in the state of Michigan, to charge one of these vans, you're talking about roughly $21.38, while to fill one up with gas is going to be about $92.88. Now the gas-powered ProMaster has roughly a range of 350 miles. There are no official fuel economy specs for these vans, so I went to Fuely.com, and it looks like averages are anywhere from 13 up to 17 miles per gallon, so I calculated it at 15 miles per gallon. Now we can look at what that's going to cost over a year. For the ProMaster EV running 250 working days, you're talking about $5,345. While for the gas-powered van, I wanted the ranges to be the same. So we cut that fill up in half, which is 175 miles of range, basically the same as the van. That means that it's going to cost you $11,610 in the gas-powered ProMaster to drive the same distance in 1 year. So folks, you saw it there, and honestly, you know what, if you're a business, it's not going to come down to how this thing drives. It's going to be all about sort of the numbers. Does it make sense financially? Although I think the other big selling point on the EV that I've seen is that side door over there, having the pocket door here on the EV, being able to open that quickly, jump out, and then having that roll-up door in the back. These are smart features. I would be a little surprised if they didn't actually make it over to the gas ProMaster eventually. Now the one downside of this pocket door is no real passenger seat, and you can see cameraman Liam, he's on the little jump seat there, and it's not that comfortable, right Liam?
Yeah, it's pretty small. I'm jammed up right against this steel frame here, and my butt barely fits on the seat. So.
And granted, most of the time you're probably riding alone as a delivery driver, but it has to be said that if having a passenger is important to you, yeah, the ProMaster EV is definitely not prioritizing that passenger space. Now, one other system I want to bring up real quick are the cameras. We do have the rear camera mirror up here. That's also on the gas ProMaster. It's brilliant for a van like this where I cannot see out the back. Why not have that? But then here we also have the surround view camera system. So as we were just pulling out of the parking lot, I was using it, and it does help, man. The top-down view, you can see the vehicles around you, you can see where you are in relation to the curbs. It really does make a difference. So in a van like this, in this segment, I say more cameras are better, and Ram has caught on to that. So it's nice to have such good views all the way around this thing. And now I commented on the power already. There's only one way to truly prove which one is superior. So we lined up a little ProMaster drag race here to see which one of these van powertrains can really deliver your package quicker. Take a look. Okay folks, here comes Dad next to me. He's in the EV ProMaster. I'm here in the gas ProMaster. And here comes our drag race in 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, wow! Well, I'll be honest, I wasn't even expecting that result. The gas just absolutely blew him out of the water. Now, granted, this is not a perfect comparison. I'm not in the high roof model, so it could have been some aerodynamics at play. But, yeah, man, that still felt like a clear win for the gas-powered ProMaster. And it's sort of what I said in the EV ProMaster. It does feel sort of like you have that smooth acceleration, but it doesn't feel like a massive amount of torque off the line, as you often do get in EVs. So there you go. If overall speed is still what you're chasing, you might want to go for the gas-powered van. I got you good.
Traction control.
Oh, really? Okay, you want to try again?
I'll try it again.
Okay, I'm good with that. We're clear behind us. You're good from right there?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Second drag race. We'll see if it's any different. 3, 2, 1, go! No, folks. I got him again. So off the line, gas is the clear winner. Well, folks, we're coming to the end of this one. My day of pretending to be a city delivery driver is coming to an end. And listen, I think I've said this a couple times, but it has to be driven home. The EV ProMaster will sell if it's going to save businesses money. That's what it comes down to. It's not about handling, it's not about acceleration. It was fun to do a drag race, but nobody in this segment truly cares about 0 to 60. It's just about how much does it cost me in fuel, how much does it cost me in maintenance, will the uptime be good enough? And when it comes to all of those things, I think that the quick math does show you that yes, an electric fleet, if the usage case is correct, is going to save you money overall. But you know what? That's just what I came up with. Now we have to wait and let the market decide. We of course have the Ford E-Transit out there already, so there is one full-size electric van, and now here comes the ProMaster EV. So we'll have to see sort of, you know, how it does at the end of the year, especially compared to that Ford, and see if this is the solution that is drawing in business owners. Overall though, I like the packaging. I think that the roll-up door on the back, that side pocket door, they've done a lot of smart things to make delivery life a little bit easier on the ProMaster EV. So yeah, that's the end of this one. Of course, I need to hear from you. Go in the comments. Let me know what you think of everything you saw in this video, your thoughts on electric delivery vans. And then as always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member. And come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.